think that I just come in there and look for knockoffs, and that's not the case. You know, I'm actually a sharp, smart fighter.
So, well, wait, I'm here. Who wanted to fight me?
I really don't care who's in front of me. I don't feel like no fighter can beat me.
Demolish everybody, to be honest. Everybody that's in my way. The pinnacle to any weight division is to have all of the belts, all of the titles.
Welcome to Bodywork. Welcome back. It's Michael Rogers. Welcome to Bodywork Boxing. It feels so good to be back. What's happening out there? We have some people in the building already. Salute the D Calico 100 emoji. I appreciate you. Cookie Monster. Bodywork. Salute Cookie Monster. D Calico back at it again. Hitchins. He literally hit chins for a living. I get it. D Calico, Richardson Hitchins. Emphatically. Yes, he does. Cookie Monster, mic check, 1 2 1 2, sounding crystal clear. You know, that's what I like to hear, Cookie Monster. A very, very vital role to the channel, man. I appreciate you and all your effort and energy. They got AC in the building, man. I had to switch it up a little bit in the beginning, give everybody a little time to do a couple woo-sides and just vibe. You know, another lovely night to talk boxing, man. How you doing, AC?
Man, good, man. Freaking delivery dude decides to come at like 9:10. You feel what I'm saying? So, yeah, I just ran down. That's why if you saw my coat on and stuff like that. But yeah, bro, I'm doing great, man. If I cannot request maybe a 10-minute rant, well, you know, for me, I'll just call it my chef's table, sitting down, hollering at the chef, looking at how a professional may look at other areas of the profession. And earlier today, I wanted to bring light to a group of dudes that I felt that if they looked at the content, we would have a very, very good conversation. You feel what I'm saying? And it completely went in another direction, where it made me feel alienated and it made me feel like a stranger. And that's basically what me and Body cooked on yesterday. And that was that whole Shaq situation. If anyone that's in the 300 would remember that, I was like, yeah, over the next 3 days or so, I'm gonna be looking the internet hard body to see who's talking about this. All day I saw people talking about the Shakur versus Ryan Garcia fight. So I reach out to these people and say, yo, listen, why is it so quiet? Why is blah, blah, blah? You know, and why nobody really cooking on it? That was the most gangster call out that I've seen. Then I heard stuff that he's in a whole weight division above. Why would he come back down? The fight makes no sense. It's moving backwards. So I had got, you know, in my feelings and a little pissed off, like, whoa. This is the last thing I'm expected from you guys, even after I said, look at the footage, which you didn't look at the footage because there was a lot more. So it just became the type of thing where I was being jumped because people were making up these hard body excuses on why the fight shouldn't happen, such as a whole division. And I was like, bro, if you saw the video, he's proposing a fight at 135 pounds. Nobody's moving up to 140. But even if that was the case, you're saying it's a whole division. None of y'all had any issues with Bud going up 2 divisions to fight Canelo. You said it was him looking for greatness. Shakur Stevenson going up to just 1 division to fight 140 was him looking for greatness. Canelo Alvarez going to fight Bivol looking for greatness. But O'Shaquie can't look for greatness? O'Shaquie's not allowed to do that? And now all of a sudden Shakur can't make 35 no more? When in fucking fight week, the man was still saying, I'm going up there just to beat Tio, and I'm going to drop those belts, let Keyshawn fight for him, and head my ass back down to 35, because I'm a natural 135 pounder. Well, O'Shaquie Foster is saying the same fucking thing. I got business to take care of, unifications and undisputed here. I fought that man that's on the screen right now, Stephen Fulton, to get my shot to fight Shakur Stevenson. But if he don't want to do it, let it be known, Shakur, I don't need you. I know how to run my own race, and I'm still at the starting line, and I'm already politicking with all of this that's going on the screen. So he let it be known, listen, Shakur, I just want to beat you up. The same thing you did with Tio, going up there and drop the belt, I'm looking to do the same thing with you. Go up there, beat your ass, drop the belt, and guess what, my nigga? I'll pay your sanctioning fee. Bro, I said, if that man don't duck and this is a real, if he don't take that offer and this is a real fight, and y'all trying to convince me that Ryan Garcia, and then I brought up the fact that, he wanted a weight clause against Conor Benn. I was told because Conor Benn is a drug cheat. And Devin Haney will blow up. Okay, but you said, I've been fighting guys bigger than me my whole career. I've been sparring guys bigger than me. You spar with Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford talks about how talented you are when y'all spar. So what the fuck is the real issue? You said size don't matter, skills pay the bills. But you want rehydration clause. You want to do all of that while this guy is actively chasing you. Which is just crazy to me that people do these type of things, which then leads me to think about what we talking about tonight, Richardson Hitchins. How he tried to make the big fights. Fights was taken from him. The same time, simultaneously, they was promoting the Times Square card. They said, Richardson Hitchins on the next one. We're going to tell you part 1 and part 2. We're working on part 3. We want to make this like a thing. Right now, we're going to start it off in Times Square. Second fight is going to be on Alcatraz. And that's Richardson Hitchins versus Teofimo Lopez. But Hitchins don't want to fight nobody. He ducking everybody. He prices himself out and all of this other stuff. This is why we were saying if Shakur wins this fight, it's bad business for boxing. It's bad for boxing. So where are we at? We're in this soft era. Dudes want to make excuses for the fuckery. You know what I'm saying? People say, well, fighters go up, fight at another division, and they don't return. Well, let me think recently. Who's the little guy everybody wants to be like? Tank Davis. Tank Davis went up to 140, snatched the belt, and then came back down to 35. Because he said he was a natural 35 pounder. What are we doing? What are we doing? And that's where I'll just end it, because yesterday's cook was so complete. I don't want to ramble on and try to give new cliff notes. And if anybody is sneak listening to this, I haven't blocked nobody in any chats. Hit me up. we can come on this platform and really, really chop it up. Bring your facts, not your feelings and your opinion. And that's all I got to say. So let's get to the housekeeping. Great show. Salute to everybody. Salute to the panel. Salute to the chat. That was my little rant. That was my woosah moment. Big shout outs to Cookie Monster. So yeah, let's get into this cook.
Word. I feel you, man. It gets like that. I had been asking for a vision since I was in high school, and I always felt like I had it. So I feel like sometimes everybody could jump the gun every now and again, but like I be spotting stuff, and once I figure out that this is who you are and this is what you is, I know how to deal with you from that point. Boxing is in such a fragile state. Cookie Monster said, let me see, they can stay where they at. They can't talk to some idiots. They say you can't talk. Yeah, you can't talk. You can't talk to some idiots, man. Salute the Cookie Monster. You right, man. You should put that in the fortune cookie Monster. Can't talk to idiots, man. And with all due respect, you know what I'm saying? Like when you demonstrate that your level of thinking and your logic, it only works that way when it comes down. You so creative and so forgiving and so understanding. I mean, you bending over backwards for these cats, but they'll outright come out and tell you that if it was somebody else, man, they would be, you know, having a barbecue. But we in the soft, sassy era is what I was saying before I shouted out Cookie Monster. We in the soft, sassy era, and that's what I meant. I'm not talking about as far as displaying skills and all that. I'm talking about the culture of boxing is in a, you know, it's just like in a sad state of affairs, because things that are happening right now are setting precedents for things to come. Because I'm not always looking at what's going on this year. Like housekeeping involved with some things that's going on in April and all of that. Like, so, but if you look ahead, no due respect, Evan. I feel you, Cookie Monster. But if you look ahead, if you're looking ahead at boxing and you're looking at the vitality of boxing, if you don't want it to fall by the wayside and become a thing of the past, because it's like really the only legal thing we can do where it's regulated, people are making bread, they make more than football players when the time is right, we get to see action. You know, you got to kind of look at everything comprehensively, and we're past the point, we're way beyond the point where we're looking at just a sliver of the pie. We got to look at the whole prism. We got to, you know what I'm saying, we got time, you know what I'm saying, there's no rush, but we got to be fair and honest in our assessments. You know, I don't want certain people around me, I don't even want them to come to the channel, even though we don't use the mute button. We don't even use the mute button. You'll have full, you know, because I don't believe in that. I believe in freedom of speech. And now we're in a culture where the powers that be have a stronghold on the media. And if you heard me before, forgive me, but I'm not going to stop saying it. He who controls the printed page ain't just what's in the newspaper. We talking about these YouTube streets, controls the thinking of this age. So when you got people that can intimidate you because you might be out somewhere clubbing or whatever, and you think you might get stepped on, or you got a whole entourage, a whole machine, a whole anybody that say anything, they can't say nothing wrong. Boxers can't even tell the truth, admittedly, in interviews. That's the culture we in. So the 300 is always going to be like, hey man, I don't care. Somebody hit me in the comments and said, and I'll land right here before we get into the housekeeping. He said, I seen when Devin was looking for Spence, everybody was with it, and he got, you know, he was able to do that. And I'm paraphrasing in my words. He's like, but with Spence coming back and coming to fight Zoo and all that, it, you know, people had, you know, they switched up basically. In my words, I'm not gonna butcher what Dev in the comments left. and he was like, I just wanted to be fair because I believe I agree with everything you said about Dev. And I was like, see, that's all it is. Like, if it's fair, you know what I'm saying, and people are out here saying it, I'm just glad that people are still using their voices, because it's not easy. It's like high school when you're getting picked on, even though ain't nobody really getting picked off. It's just the sheer numbers you gotta go. If it's just you and it's just 10, idiots minus the savant, I don't care if you was an idiot savant, okay, cool, but just idiots minus the savants, man, they burn brain cells. We game all night. What's good? Salute. I appreciate you. But yeah, man, I mean, this is the timing,
I just wanted to piggyback off of a point you said, which is extremely irrelevant, because when you and I spoke, we both admitted to doing this one thing. We became a victim of it because you just couldn't. If you clicked on the YouTube, you just couldn't get away from it at one point or another. For me, between a lot of the channels and then some of the other channels, it just became this big echo chamber that no matter where I went, that there was always the tank hate. So I fed into that. You feel what I'm saying? And then I just had my moment, when meeting you, D-Free, Crush, and dudes like that, because y'all allowed me to go back and remember those things that were actual facts, but I let the echo chamber change my opinion. When it was you, and correct me if I'm wrong, it was with Mel Charlo, and then you immediately started questions like what? So in that vein, even the two of us have fell victim to the echo chambers. And this is probably why when we come upon people who fall victim to it, it's just like, wake the fuck up. This is your moment. You're talking to me now. I am your Morpheus right now. I have the red pill, I have the blue pill. I'm trying to wake you the fuck up. You don't want to be where you are. But yet they the little white dude who just wanted to eat steak.
Yep.
Who fucked everybody over. It says, you know what? I want to go back to sleep. I'm good there. Because I get to eat steak with butter on it. With doo-doo butter on it. And that's what this fucking Shakur fight is. So that's where I'm going to land my plane, bro.
Yeah, that man said, man, I know it's not real, but it tastes so good.
Exactly.
Like he wanted to taste it, man. And I'm like, shit, man.
Exactly.
Not me, man, not me. But here go the housekeeping, man. Yeah, I just wanted to let AC have a woosah moment, man, and let him do his thing, man. He got something special cooking for everybody, man, that he been working on for tomorrow. And that's just a preview, man. But the housekeeping, man, number one, Callum Smith versus David Morrell. And don't quote me, but I believe April or June. Like it's between April and June. April, but it could be early as April. But I seen the date. It wasn't, I gotta take these things with a grain of salt. I gotta focus on what's the task at hand now and all that. But like, I'm no stranger to the fact that I was a heavy Dave Morrell fan. And what David Benavidez was able to do with David Morrell, that's when I really was like, man, I can't really bet against this guy no more, man. I can't, because I always said that David Morrell, I went over the facts about him a while ago when he was Canelo's mandatory for like 3 years. His name was, in my boxing to watch, his name is El Sicario, because Ronnie Shields said he was Canelo Alvarez's personal hitman. Canelo Alvarez had a personal hitman. Why? Because when you look at the structure for everybody who care about belts and the rules and all that, Canelo was above him, but he had the quote unquote what y'all be calling a Reggie belt and all this other stuff. Not no interim or whatever, but a Reggie and all that. Well, when you be having them kind of belts, a la like what Tank had, he had to fight all of the mandatory. The one above could do pretty much whatever they want. You know what I'm saying? They could, they could pretty much do whatever they want for the most part, as long as they doing whatever they need to do to stand in good graces of the sanctioning body. Well, that was David Morrell for years, and people discounted how good he was and this and this and that. Sometimes we gotta realize that we just got some special fighters, and David Benavidez is just a special fighter. He's a throwback. But David Morrell, the same vein that we're gonna be in as far as with Richardson Hitchins, the same activities like a Brian Norman, the same activities like a Oshaki Foster. David Morrell kind of set a precedence that I highlighted, in which he said he wanted that man, he actively pursued that man. I'm talking about David Benavidez, because David Benavidez, he was going after Canelo. Meanwhile, David Morrell was in the WBA. He was fighting his mandatory for 3 years and some change. This is on fact, it's on wax. That's what he was doing. So you think about, if the division wasn't all that, okay, you could say that. But however, no matter how cruddy the division was, when people move up through them rankings, some of them politic, but like all of them ain't there just because they, sent the envelope somewhere, you know what I'm saying, and dropped it off or paid for a steak dinner in the hotel. All of them didn't get in there like that. He was fighting the mandatories at that time. So when he was calling out David Benavidez, and David Benavidez was in hot pursuit of Canelo, and that same sanctioning body was giving Canelo all this grace because of the revenue, he was fighting mandatories and fighting the guys that was coming up. Let that sink in. He also pursued David Benavidez because David Benavidez said, I'm going to 75. You know what? The times that Mr. David Morrell said, you know what? Hold my beer. I'm going to 75. I said, man, this dude is cold. Like, and so just for the valiant effort, he put way more effort. He get credit for a drop on David Benavidez. People try to discount that and all that. I'm like, nah, man, the scrap was the scrap. Like, it was times where David didn't look the way I thought he would look, but like the way he fought, he did better than Tio. He put more effort than Tio. That shit wasn't like just no total blowout. Like, Dave had pretty much full command of the fight, but David Morrell is a man in his own right. He had one of the hardest I gave him slogan of the year that year. He said, listen, outside the ring, I respect everything and everybody. Inside the ring, I don't respect nothing, man. That's the talented Mr. David Morrell, the Cuban sensation, fighting out of Minnesota at the time. That's where he set up camp. He done put people in comas, almost sent a couple up. Like he was, you know what I'm saying? Like he was ringing door. He was a boogeyman. Yeah. And he just ran into a guy and he finally got what I'm getting at is he finally got his wish. He actually pursued. He kept with the call out. He had the same energy. When his guy moved up, he moved up. He actually went and pursued until he, you know what I'm saying, got that man in a ring. Now the results was the results, but you gotta respect the hustle and admiration and like what he did. Like, and you know what I'm saying? So now he get his shot with Caleb Smith. He's staying active. Yeah, he's a PBC fighter, and that's one of the reasons why I keep doubling down and saying that's why people don't be doing all that. They be acting like they be forgetting about boxing when it comes to certain boxers. But they only talk about PBC when it's something toxic. Like people are going on. I'm telling you, I told y'all this. I said people been online for 3 days talking about how Jermell Charlo is still begging. And he ain't relevant. He's not relevant right now like he is to us because we want him to get in a fight. But they're painting this image, this narrative that he's not relevant. The talented Mr. David Morrell, no matter what was going on, because he was a premier boxing champion, and he would have been like on them undercards with the David Benavidez's and the Tanks and all that. So when you bash and celebrate that those fights don't happen, a premier guy like a talented Mr. David Morrell, you missed out on that. We been should have got the Andy Hirioka and all that. We missed out on that while everybody was celebrating that a fight didn't happen between the novelty boxer and Tank Davis. But that the talented Mr. David Morrell is staying active. He's staying afloat. You know what I'm saying? He's still learning. You know, it was still a little early. He had his like Brian Norman moment, you know what I'm saying, so to speak. But he's in full rebounce mode. Same energy. So look out for him. You're not gonna hear a lot of content about him. Now I know he got a fight coming up and whatever. I'm cranking cranking the volume up on him too. That's the first one. Number 2, Shakur officially has the machine behind him. Now I want to paint a picture. We was laughing and joking the other day, and and before that, like a week before that, I had did one of the housekeepings was Wilbers, Lynn, and Ellerby. And AC was just saying, man, listen, I had brought up the fact that now this guy got the machine behind him, and he said, listen, and I was like, and I was, relaying the point that Tank didn't have the machine behind him, contrary to what all these birds be chirping and saying. He didn't. It was his activity inside the ring, just like in Abdullah Mason, except for Tank. Everybody look at him like he's electrifying. He got a swag. He represents a certain demographic. He beat odds, but his hands told the story in the ring. That's how it was. Yeah, he went over, sparred his way into Floyd's life and got signed because Adrian Broner took him over there. All that. He got him. His life was a movie, for real. He got it by performing inside the ring. A lot of the hate he got was because of his affiliation with Floyd Mayweather. I tried to do the line with saying, listen, man, Floyd, he got a different personality, man. It's just, you make a certain amount, you start doing whatever, that's him. I always respected what he did in the ring and how he moved. And a long time ago, I did a thumbnail with him talking to Tank with a chessboard there, and it said, don't get played. And I'll bring it out again at some point. But contrary to popular belief, he didn't have the machine. Shakur Stevenson, he has the machine. So this is my word to everybody out here. When you evaluate how these boxers are moving and all that, you got to look at everything that it takes for them to, carry out what they're doing. If you can influence the boxing writers, if a boxing writer can come out, I'm not going to say it, but let's just say a boxing writer or somebody that has influence on the Hall of Fame. If he's out here on YouTube doing YouTube videos and getting interviews, but he can say, remember, I got something on the boxing, I got a say in on this Hall of Fame. What does that entail? What did that tell you? When any Hall of Fame, like it's 2 Hall of Famers out here, like 2 Rottweilers, and then you got a Pitbull and Bud that like is coming out before you. Then you got Jay Prince, and I'll leave it at that. Do your research. When you got all of that, then you got Max Kellerman, and you got Mike Cap, and then you got like any and everybody. You got people online that are pledge allegiance to you just because they don't want to tell the truth and miss out on getting an interview or maybe getting a backstage pass to your bunk bed. I don't know what they want. But when you have all of these things behind you, and the only thing you really can do is just, at the end of the day, it's just going to be you, the ref, and the opponent. The minute you really start feeling yourself and you really believe that hype that everybody be saying and all that, you don't keep yourself grounded. They say pride before the destruction. And it's funny to see when people move in a certain light, like a light that they want. Now you doing that, like I gave the analogy about, homie gone till November. So now, you all in them cakes. That's just because homie gone till November. You could do the beat it up dance like Tyrese did. You could do the beat it up dance. But what happened when old homie get back? That's always in the back of your mind. So it's just odd that this big machine, I've never seen, well, I ain't gonna say I've never seen, but like where I've been actually paying attention, and then, we in the social media area, so some of this stuff is new. I was always around watching it, how it progressed and all that. But to see the way boxing is moving, the political structure of boxing, the way certain fan base, because, they have sheer numbers, they can just echo certain things and control narratives and just beat down anything. They can be ignorant. They can gaslight. Like, I didn't even see that. I ain't see that interview. I ain't hear him say that. Shakur has all of that. And you got to look at yourself, and you got to look at what's going on with boxing. You got to ask, are you keeping the same energy that you had when somebody else was in that limelight? Now that person's still there. He just on hiatus. You know what I'm saying? He just hiatus, handling some personal stuff. You know what I'm saying? He's out of the picture. But were you keeping the same energy? And now we're highlighting the fact that this man has the total. I'm gonna stop talking about it eventually. You know what I'm saying? But while I still care a little bit, I'm gonna highlight how every single solitary angle is at the advantage. And now you're able to pick leftovers of leftovers and hit, and then make stipulations that were like frowned upon from before, and now that's acceptable, y'all. So I say all of that because here we just gonna keep it bare bones simple. We're gonna keep the same energy. The standard is the standard. And in different ways, like fighting somebody off of a loss, fighting somebody off of a knockout loss, like somebody getting a title shot, somebody, getting edged, and yeah, the verdict was, a win, but we saw a loss, or a draw. We keep that same energy no matter what's going on. We're gonna keep it that way, man. And that man got a machine behind him. The last one, man, and I swear we gonna cook, man, is thanks to the boxing gods, no Pacquiao versus Devin. The boxing gods, I be, what I'm saying, I got a little, I got a little inside, what I'm saying, I'm a little insider with the boxing gods, what I'm saying. They be, telling me little things and stuff like that. And I went ahead and said, hey, remember the time I told you owe me one? They was like, yeah, this is the one. This is the one. I'm like, nah, man, the dude, he just made a good move, man. I want him to keep the same momentum and do the things and just stand on it, man. Just go after. And boxing guys were like, all right, then, you know what I'm saying? Okay, all right, I got you. Because Pacquiao was scheduled to fight somebody else, Ruslan Provodnikov. They've already coming out with imageries and painting that and all that. He's doing that in April, so I'm pretty sure the man gonna want to be active for that. So if it's after that, okay, cool. Because I know after that, his ass probably gets suspended or something. If that boy if Ruslan got anything like that he used to have, yeah, you can be looking up like the such and such athletic commission has placed such and such on suspension. I looked up Devin, he was on suspension for some reason as well. I'm not sure. It's been a minute. I mean, that was a minute, but I digress. No Devin and Pacquiao. So that cool, good trait that no, you gotta look at what we were talking about the other day as far as those A-side problems you got between Keyshawn and Xander, and it seems like the masses are saying they're leaning towards Keyshawn, and it's kind of divided on who's seeing, depending on what channel you tuned into as to who they think going to win that fight. That is the housekeeping, AC, man. What you got on it?
Basically, this is, let me make sure I'm not muted up. Basically, this is where I'm at. I was a person who liked Morrell, but I felt that there were certain things that he was being moved a little bit too fast. You know what I'm saying? I was a person who said, I don't think he's going to beat David Benavidez. It's just too soon. He doesn't have enough to compete with him. But I did appreciate that he was chasing that fight to the point where I was like, you gotta respect this dude, because he's been chasing this fight, and if Benavidez don't do something, he's going to have a Morrell problem. And then it started to look like, to me, it was a Morrell problem. Long story short, I'm in chats and everything and on panels, and I'm bringing that up, and they're like, wait a minute, what do you mean Benavidez got a Morrell problem? I said, bro, you're chasing Canelo. Canelo's not interested in fighting you. There is a guy who's actively chasing you in the name of David Morrell. You gotta deal with that dude. I think you beat him, so go ahead and beat him. Get that out the way, and that may give you a little bit more whatever, the way you could really look at the landscape. But you came up to 75, and he came up to 75. You can't ignore that type of stuff, bro. We as boxing fans, whether you like the guy, dislike the guy, you're unsure of the guy, whatever the case may be, when they do bullshit like that, you gotta respect that. And dudes was like, yeah, I get what you're saying, but nah, David Benavidez ain't. What does he gain by beating Morrell? He took a dangerous young fighter that will more than likely be destined to be a great fighter, whatever division he's gonna fight in. You the first person that handed him his O. What the fuck's wrong with that? It's a great fight, no matter how you look at it. Nah, it's not even close. Okay, but what happened in the fight? That dude dropped David Benavidez. No, you didn't say that, AC. Oh, yes, I did. And you all saw it just like I did. He didn't get the victory, but he put up a good showing, a better showing than Brian Norman. And there was no way I saw that fight going in that direction. But he got the drop on the monster. Dropped him. Boom! And then early on, he was looking sweet on him when he was doing that Cuban shit that Benavidez just couldn't figure out. So at the end of the day, I have no issues with Morrell coming back. When you take a loss that early in your career, it only allows you now to never be thinking about the loss. You're only thinking about what you need to do to beat this person's ass. I'm not afraid of losing my O. So it's a done deal. The other parts of the housekeeping, those were spot on. But there was something that you said that caught my attention because I watched the latest episode of Ring Magazine, right?
Yeah.
They were talking about Shakur Stevenson again. And it just struck me as odd, as though I'm like, okay, Malik Scott is busy. Is his UK fighter have a fight coming up? Because it seemed as though you weren't quite on that train when they was trying to throw all of these accolades, and you may had to been checked right there. Maybe there's an earpiece, that little earpiece you see them struggling with at times when they talking. Maybe somebody, don't say that, don't say that. You feel what I'm saying? Maybe that's what came through that earpiece. And then, they said, all right, we're going to give you a break on this episode. I really don't know, but I just found it a little weird that they were starting to establish that panel as Malik Scott being one of the members, as being a real boxing trainer and X, Y, and Z, instead of a bunch of other personalities. So I just thought that was interesting, and that's pretty much where I landed. Yeah, that's just where I landed. So, yeah, the Dev and Pacquiao thing, I was praying that wouldn't happen, and we all know the machine about that other guy. I just don't. I just got a little fatigue about talking about Shakur because it's just been a bit much. When I tell people how I came about my decisions of understanding what happened with him and the sanctioning bodies and just coming out and saying, yo, he was wrong. That's because of the debate that I had on this channel with Malazar. Malazar went as far as he took his initial debate and went into looking into some of the things that was going on with Zuffa and how they were able to do what they was doing to get this whole Zuffa thing done. That's not really done. Like, this shit could literally fall apart if the federal government just says no. So they're gonna have to vote on it to see what it is between Congress and the politicians and all of that other kind of stuff. So Zuffa's still in a shaky place. So between that debate, that's what allowed me to look at things with the sanctioning body. I took it a little different place because I asked questions and I said, all right, once I finish with this research, I wrote down notes and I said, I want to find out this and that. And I found all of those things out, and it just gave me a clear picture that one of my talking points for where he was wrong might be extremely technical because it has everything to do with the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission.
But I mean, if he's a technical fighter, we might well be technical in our assessment. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
But let me ask, because that's what kind of had me. I've been seeing the actions and all of that, but I know that this thing got to get passed by Congress. So I'm like, what do they have because I'm, fill me in if you know, but do they have what do they have? A temporary, like how are they operating now versus like what's the major thing between how they operate now and if they pass this? What's this? Is this like a interim period or
Yeah, basically. Yes, basically because you're gonna have to come back with the data. And when all of this data comes back, then Congress can actually look at it, review it, and then really start to go in and say, all right, now we see your structure. So here's where we have issues. Because you do things this way, we have to ask the question, the same question I asked the other day. Are these fighters who signed to Zuffa, American fighters, are they still protected by the Muhammad Ali Act or the Health Act or the health law? And I wish I could remember it. Maybe I should just take a couple of seconds and I'll say it. But basically, it's the 1996 law that protects boxers as far as their health and stuff like that, physicals, eye tests and stuff like that. Fighters have to take that yearly eye test and stuff like that every year, but then they have to renew every 4 years. The one part of Zuffa that they did with the UBO allows that thing to happen every year. That's good. That 4-year thing from the Ali Act is now reduced through Zuffa 1 year, but every year. But are the fighters still protected by the Ali Act? And is the pay scale or any other thing that they're doing violates that act? So that's why I don't think it's 100% a thing. Congress still has to vote on it. And when you read everything up on it, that's allowed to the public. I'm only going by the information that is allowed to the public. When you go and you read on it, it just says later decisions will have to be made. But right now it's in an interim state, and Congress did allow them the ability to move forward because I guess, and I'm guessing this is because state by state and Congress allowed the UFC. So Zuffa ran the UFC, so they're like, okay, we'll see how it goes. If you're telling me it's going to run just like that, then it is what it is. But then again, it asks the questions about the Ali Act. Who's the sanctioning body? How can they make fights without the fights actually being sanctioned? So are these guys now still professional boxers, or are they something else? Because you won't be under a sanctioning body. That's number one. And number two, the ring belt isn't governed by any sanctioning body. So are you still a professional fighter, or you're a professional fighter fighting in this other thing?
Yeah, that's why they still in my evaluation period, because remember, and I keep the same energy, just like with boxers. I can't just jump because I've been around and had so much hope and energy and find out people not committed it. But when it came down to pro box, they went through my evaluation period. And I came out when Turkey started coming on, I was like, man, listen, man, y'all are focused on the foreign thing, but y'all got to focus on pro box, because pro box is secretly saving American boxing.
Yes, it
like
is.
They were secret, like before it got outrageous and people in, like, he started really plucking off the competition and all that and making these, you know, these interesting fights, but not fights that we asked for, like, you know, and throwing all this money around. Pro box was that IV that we needed, you know, but everybody was just focused on getting that solid food, but pro box was like that IV, just with the slow drip, just like keeping all the vital nutrients that you ain't getting or can't get. That's what it was doing. And I evaluated them because I was like, what is this? And then I've read about Gary Jonas, where he came from. A lot of people, and this is another thing, because he was with Al Heyman. He was with Al Heyman. That may be another reason why people, you know, because that's I'm sorry, y'all, but this is the time we living in. I'm telling you, like, Jamel can't get a fight because of the PBC. Like, it's just weird out here. People can't even get no promotion, no airtime. People will remix the same shit because they can't. Gary Jonas did that. I evaluated. I saw it. I said, man, pro box is good. Zuffa, I didn't see any good. but they are still in my evaluation because I still got to be knowledgeable, even if they don't. Because I'm thinking pro box, if they sustain what they got going on, the Zuffa stuff is I'm a reserve, but I they in my evaluation period, and I'm gonna leave it like that with that Zuffa stuff.
Okay, this is where I'm just gonna land the plane so we can move forward. For me, I always say this because I didn't think dude was gonna respond on one of his early shows. I mean, right before his early show, like maybe between the first three, it might have been the second one. He does a whole interview to let everybody know what Pro Box was about, what Pro Box intent, and stuff like that. And you can see him looking in the comment section. One dude asked him, will Pro Box put on championship fights? Or another dude asked him, will Pro Box go to a subscription-based platform? And he was like, both of those are our goals. Both of them are our goals, to work with the major sanctioning bodies and stuff like that, so we can put on championship fights. But we have to build a platform so they feel that it's worth putting one of their big fights on our platform. So we have to slowly build it. We're looking at a 2, maybe 3-year plan. You feel what I'm saying? Before we he didn't say you feel what I'm saying, but he was like, we're looking for a 2-3 year plan and things like that. I had asked him, and this is the part I always bring up, because at that particular point, Smoke was doing a lot of interviews with Blair Cobb. So we had access to talk to Blair Cobb, and I asked Blair, would he ever do a show on Pro Box? And he was like, I would love to. Hell yeah, that shit is gladiator school. You're not going to be matched. You're going to have to fight. You feel what I'm saying? So when I'm looking at a professional boxer who's out trying to find a fight, but he's saying, yeah, I fuck with that Pro Box shit, but I also know what I'm walking into, because that shit is gladiator school. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, I had asked him, would he work with Blair Cobb? He said, yeah, as long as Blair Cobb have a promoter. We are a network. We're not a promotional company. We're nothing. We're nothing like that. You got to come with your promoter, your manager, and we'll put on your fight. This is where Lamont Roach and his family is making a lot of success as far as building up their promotional companies.
Yep.
And Lamont Roach is also a Pro Box fighter. Angelo Leo, a Pro Box fighter. McCumbee, a Pro Box fighter. Angelo Leo came from the ranks of Pro Box, and now he's a sanctioned body champion. So there is some viability to it. Who else is coming from there? Was it Tiger or was it Lester Martinez? I know it's a handful of other fighters that's coming out of Pro Box and stuff like that are actually making noise in the sanctioning bodies.
Najee Lopez, like, that's a big hope. He a big dangerous dude.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Up there at 175, man. They said that it was rumored that I took it with a grain of salt, but it was rumors that he almost got the Beterbiev fight. They said Beterbiev almost picked him. I don't know if he ready for that, but like, he up there. He right on the cusp, man. He like a couple fights, maybe by the end of this year. If he keep doing what he doing, man, he gonna get that work, because he right there.
And for me, I gravitated from Pro Box pretty much immediately after the first show, because it made me feel like I'm a kid again watching boxing in the living room with my uncles, because I don't really know these guys. You know what I'm saying? I'm just there to enjoy the fight. I don't know who's gonna win. And what I wind up seeing was guys let their hands go. They didn't want to dance around and do a lot of other shit. There was nobody making business decisions and shit like that. It was just solid performances. And it came to a point where, when I would speak on other panels, people would clown me and be like, that comment was AC's comment was sponsored by ProBox. And I was like, you goddamn right. Because that's they gonna do great things for American boxing. So that's pretty much it, man. I really like ProBox. And I'm still a fan of theirs.
Yeah. Outside of, I don't like Paulie, you know what I'm saying, but I bear with him. I bear him, you know what I'm saying. Every now and again he'll say something that I'm like, all right then, but I don't like him. But that's about the worst thing I could say about ProBox, which is not bad. So I'm still evaluating Zuffa, but I'm on board with ProBox. I think I like the plan. I like Gary. I like what they do for fighters, because Jojo Diaz went down there. Regis, it's like when if you really want to build yourself back up and you fall from the grace, like in the major league, go down there, man, because you can rise back up out of there, and it'll sharpen you, because them guys be living in there. They got like, he came off of a spa, like a rehabilitation type deal, and that's how he helped JoJo rehabilitate himself. And a guy like Najee Lopez, say the man ain't even got no woman, man. Say he just live in that gym and just train and live there. He ain't got to worry about. That's something that I said Malik Iceman Hawkins could have benefited from. If he could have went down there in a facility like that with how tall he was, his fighting style, him being from out here, how nice he was, we'll be talking about him right now, man. If he had that sterile environment like that, you know. But that's my salute to ProBox, man. And I'm evaluating Zuffa. I'm not on it. I'm not with it, because I see the major plan, especially with Andre Ward and Max and them over there too. I'm like, y'all it's just one big orgy, you know. But let's get into the meat and potatoes, man. This is a continuation, because like everybody know, my whole thing is the row. The 140-pound division, the most competitive division out here, you know what I'm saying, by the hair of his teeth, you know, because I think 154 is right behind it. But I've highlighted all these guys. I've been putting stake in the ground for all of these guys. And Richardson Hitchins, man, is one of my guys. With all these boxes, there's always flies in the ointment. But the way the game is moving versus how he's moving, as long as the moves that he make, because when we put him up on the scale and we look at him, at the end of the day, we got to look at how they perform inside the ring and the kind of fights and opponents that they were picking and how they were moving. All of the other stuff is like, yeah, you can go back and forth about, yeah, well, he said something about, you know, his mother's gold tooth, you know, well, he said something about his father's hairline. We can do that all day. But when you look at the fighter and the moves, and when you look at the fact that we talked about a gentleman having a whole machine behind him, what about them solo guys like an Oshaki, who is just him, rolling dolo from state to state? I always point this out. When it come down to Richardson Hitchins, it's him and Coach Lenny Wilson. If you ever heard Lenny Wilson, like if you ever been around and you got to watch him, you know what I'm saying, and see how his personality is, he's like, man, it's like that guy that you run into when you go, you know, anywhere. Like that kind of personality, you can relate to him, because he's just like a down-to-earth dude, funny but serious, you know what I'm saying? Like that's all, like that's what Richardson Hitchins got. You know, yeah, Eddie had put him in positions. Eddie might be pulling some strings or whatever, but mind you guys, this guy's a free agent. When he came out and he said, yeah, he was a free agent after the Kambosos fight, when T.O. got in the ring, I think, you know, he's learned that might not have been the time. And, I'm divided on it, because, yeah, you got a right to do that. But for me, it was a way for Eddie to kind of get over. They use that, in my opinion. That's another gripe I got with Eddie. I think they use that to where it's like, listen, man, the man got the IBF. He's a champion. Like he was an Olympian. Like, you know, it's the story goes on and on with them. But he's a guy that just has a coach. He's a guy who came in at the weight class at 140. That's why, unfortunately, you guys, I believe I believe that the man probably going to 147. He's been saying it. He's like, man, my time is coming up because, you know, we can point fingers and we can pull up interviews and people like to harp on, you know, that one Gustavo Lemos performance, but he can't get the fights. You know, he was promised a fight by Turkey. AC alluded to it earlier, where it was a point in time where he was supposed to get T.O. Think about it. He stopped the guy to the body in what, 7-8 rounds. Devin went 24 rounds with him, but that's the guy that put the blemish on T.O.'s record. Yes, Lomachenko stopped him, but I don't know if people saw Richardson Hitchins doing that. They still talking about how he don't got power and all this. I always said, man, he at least knocked somebody down for the most part. He might be some fights where he don't get a knockdown, but for the most part, he gonna knock somebody down. And now I think he's turning on that killer instinct. He's learning how to turn on that switch. And you got to think he's still doing it under the IBF. So the same extra credit I gave Sue Burrell, the same extra credit I was giving Boots, the same extra credit I gave Earl Spence when I first came abreast of that rule. I always give them a little extra credit. Why? Because you can't weight bully in there. People don't understand that was his first time with Gustavo Lemos dealing with that, didn't have a nutritionist and all that. I'm not making excuses. I'm just putting down facts. I think he's hurdled all of that. He's moving the way he moved, and he's smart enough to know that, okay, this man got a machine. I got to be smart. I got to be wise. As long as his moves are making sense the way they are right now, which I think this is a very viable defense, given the fact that Jermaine Ortiz got plucked away from him, and in the same breath, him and Keyshawn couldn't come to a situation where they wanted money. That didn't come. He wound up getting Jermaine Ortiz. You know, he didn't get the fight. He said he wanted next after the Haney and Norman thing. I believe in my heart of hearts, if Norman would have won, we would be getting a Norman versus Hitchins, but Devin won, and now, you know, we talked about where Devin was at the other day. Hitchins don't look like he's in the picture, and I think that he's on the cusp of he made a statement with Kambosos. Now, this goes back to here when I said legacy defined. I think this is right at the point in time where I started kind of like, you know, putting some things on AC mind about Richardson Hitchins, because Liam Paro was a guy that he kind of came out of nowhere. People seen what he did to Montana Love. You know, people seen what he did to the proverbial boogeyman in Subram Matias. And right at that cusp, a lot of people was thinking that, okay, I like Liam Paro. Now I like Liam Paro too. I think he's feisty and all this. I just think that he's way better than Kambosos. I just think that for what he's going to be wanting to do, like, I think he's fighting at 47. I think that for what he's going to be like Kambosos at 40, he's going to be like Pitbull at 40, where they got skills, but because of the dimensions and with these smarter boxers, his arms going to be too short to box with the guard. At that point, when this fight was coming up, I did this Black Panther versus the Green Goblin. And I said, this is legacy defined. I said, this is the point in time where Richardson Hitchins is going to define his legacy with this fight. Why? Because, you know, contrary to popular belief, just like Josh Kelly right now is getting all the benefit for doing what he did with Baccarat. You know what I'm saying? Questionable decision and all that. But he still get credit because he unstrapped that man. He dropped that man. You know what I'm saying? He found a way to get his hand raised. This is the time when I said Richardson Hitchins was going to define himself. And he did. Because he beat the man that beat the man. So that was legacy defined. He went through a stage where when he did that Kambosos thing, I said, man, is the man blackballed? Right? I talked about the thing that I talked about just now with Eddie. And I was saying that, man, I don't think it's right. And what you got to think that this is not just about Richardson Hitchins. This is about Coach Lenny. This is about this footage where Eddie Hearn went to the hood. That's why I say when you want to take pride in something, don't just like, because this is not about just Tank or just about Keyshawn, but this is about a New York kid who grew up, got it the hard way, Haitian background and all that. Dark skin, people use that. But he came up from Brooklyn in them gyms, He went in there, Coach Lenny saw him, work with him, said they can work with him, and look at him, man. That is the American dream. People be saying he's the off-brand this, he's the T-Move version of this. I always say that him and Devin Haney was different sides of the same coin. But what Eddie and them did, man, questionable moves. Just like with Andrade and how Andrade got frozen thinking he was going to go over there and he was going to get Triple G and Canelo. He ain't getting neither one. He went on a European tour. Well, Eddie ain't picking up no slack. He ain't tapping Turkey on the shoulder. Say, hey, man, sprinkle a little, you know what I'm saying? That's all they want right here. You money bag, right? Do that. They didn't do that. We went through the phase where he was blackballed. And I was saying, listen, man, one of the criteria for when you're making a move, if you can't get the biggest fight or the best fight, it goes down to availability of the opponents. Like, what's the availability? So when you start putting it on that metrics, he landed in the spot to where he's getting a Oscar Duarte. Oscar Duarte is part of the Robert Garcia Boxing Academy, where they got some killers. Where you talking about Virgil Ortiz, you talking about Raymond Mortaya, you talking about Jesse Bam Rodriguez, you talking about a squad over there. He's part of this squad. So this is not just about Hitchins versus Duarte. People are making the comparisons of Duarte and Gustavo Lemos. There are some, and the fact that they bring pressure, but them Argentinians are different. I'm telling you, them Argentinians give everybody a problem. When they up on their game, like a Brian Castano, if he was still lacing them up, he would be giving all, a Brian Castano is what I was saying. A Gustavo Lemos that was in shape and focused, man, we seen what he was able to do. Them Argentinians, they change levels, they high volume, they got awkward punches, they got chins. They got chin. Oscar Duarte is not that, I don't believe. Yes, he has a history with Ryan Garcia where he was giving Ryan Garcia problems, had him in a taco shell. Ryan Garcia came up out of it. Derrick James talked some sense into him. He came out there and cracked that bullwhip on him. You know what I'm saying? Got him, stopped him. So he does have that history, but he bounced back and beat another guy that was part of the row that I was looking at. He was right on the outskirts of being the guy that I started talking about on a regular basis. But in Chicago, in his own backyard, I would say the decision was a close decision. And yeah, I think that Duarte did because of the style, but that was in his backyard. Then Kenny Sims thought he would get the benefit of the doubt. He still believed he won that fight. I'm saying, you made it kind of too close, so that's what Duarte is coming off of. If Richardson Hitchins can come out here and make another statement and make this man look ordinary, make him look like he got two left feet, start punching on him, drawing to his killer instinct, this will be a legacy defining moment. And he might be convinced, because think about it, unification means that, hey, no rehydration. His benefit is anybody that's really weight putting, if they try to come get his belt alone with no belt, in conjunction with it to unify with, they too gotta go into the 10 pound. Nobody really want to do that. That's why they've been barking and talking all that shit, saying how he don't ever make no fight. I wish he would shut up and all this, but they don't ever make the move to really do it. Why? Because it's going to tell the truth on you in many different ways. This is where we at. This is his legacy moment. And I wanted to actually give him a spotlight and break down how we think the fight is going to go. And if Richardson Hitchins can put himself among the elite. Because in my book, he's already elite. Never fought somebody with an upside down record. Survived TMT. Didn't shrink down to 135 and weight bully. Came right in at 140. He fought some names. He got a nice resume. People just not all over it. Where do we stand on Richardson Hitchins going into this weekend? That's the topic of tonight.
Well, for me, I'm back in Hitchins in this fight. This is a fight where, for me, it's something he just has to do. You know what I'm saying? Between the diehard boxing fans, we're gonna understand somewhat the significance of it, and looking at what he could put on his belt as, yeah, I pretty much did a Garcia fighter dirty. You know what I'm saying? At the time where they just gotta you know, a mariachi band that's just, you just can't fuck with them. It's like when you watch that movie Desperado and all of them dudes came. That's like Robert Garcia's team. It's like you got the one dude that's got the guitar that's shooting the missiles. You got the dude with the suitcases just spraying everything up. So it is what it is. But I just feel like if he goes in there and he puts hands and feet like I'm expecting him to, and tries to get that impressive victory and things like that, it is what it is. I'm gonna be super happy. Now, where people try to say other weird things about him, I'm just like, look, at the end of the day, Lennox Lewis had to go to Crunk Gym to learn how to knock somebody out. Tyson Fury went to the younger, the nephew of Emmanuel Stewart to teach Tyson Fury how to sit down on those punches and knock somebody the fuck out on a consistent basis. Because after he got that tutelage, Tyson Fury went on a stopping spree. You know what I'm saying? Until he got in the ring with Usyk. But at the end of the day, the point is, fighters, especially boxers, it seems to be, they have to be taught how to apply that viciousness because their mind is on math, points. You know what I'm saying? So with them, you got to get them out of that and then have them focus on like professional people who read body language. Do instincts that know how to stop people like Tank and many other fighters. They know how to read body language. So they can see when they hit you with a shot and be like, oh, he didn't like that. Yeah, now I got him. Because their shit is not really math. It's they're excellent at reading body language. You catch them with just a glancing shot, and you notice that their eyebrows go up, and you notice that they may be looking around like, oh shit, there's a lot of power behind that. Now you know because you've been reading that body language, he gonna be scared when I hit him. Every time I come close to him, he gonna start to throw. Now I'm getting him to open up. So boom, 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 boom. Hold this uppercut, boom, and you out. So Hitchins is gonna have to learn. I'm not saying he's gonna have to learn, but he's coming into it, and maybe his trainers and stuff like that are starting to let him read those little subtle things in body language that a fighter just can't hide. A boxer's tell, and every boxer has it because bodywork don't lie. It don't lie. Bodywork math is always mathing. You get hit in the right part of the body, all systems shut down. There is no chins and beards in bodywork. You feel what I'm saying? Because that shit is just meant to, it's nothing but soft tissue and flexible rib cages. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, I think I don't know if it's the stream, but it seemed like you was cutting out or something. I don't know.
Oh, word? Oh man,
it's been static. I can hear you for the most part, but I think you was cutting out. I don't know if it was the stream or just my end.
No, my internet is saying it's full, but again, it could be my internet on this side because it's it's storming up here in New York. So
okay.
That could be it. But just to recap, all I'm saying is just that bodywork don't lie. Bodywork, if you're a killer and you got that killer instinct, that bodywork shows you how to read a person. So you apply that bodywork. I don't give a fuck how strong your beard is. The body will take you down. If I can't knock you the fuck out, I'm gonna beat your body up, and then you just gonna go down. Why was the fight stopped between Keyshawn and Ortiz? Because that bodywork was so vicious that Ortiz said, hold the fuck up. I have to take a knee because if I stand up, I can't breathe. That's what that bodywork do to you. It don't lie. It's the great equalizer, especially when you're looking at a dude who can move and he got a beard. Hitchins like that bodywork. So if he applies that to this dude,
that bodywork, man, that's the science, man. That's the sweet science, for real, for real.
Yeah. So at the end of the day,
I wonder. I think it might have been. I don't know if I was interrupting the stream because I think maybe I got too much memory or something. Maybe I got too many things. Oscar versus B-Hop, circuit breaker, kill switch. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. He did that, man. He hit that man. That man couldn't even. That's like Tank. What Tank did to Ryan. And they would be like, yeah, he quit. I'm like, yeah, but we done seen it where you get hit in the right spot. You make a business decision at some point, like, yeah, I'm gonna be vulnerable. I'm not gonna be able to move when he come, and his adrenaline probably flowing because he know he hurt me. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and yeah, you got me, man. You shot me, you got me, man. But I want to go over this. I think it was this is what I want or need people to realize. I think it was me that might have been slowing it down on my end because I think I gotta get rid of some stuff on my computer because it started breaking up real bad every time because I did it. I came out of it, you sounded clear. I went back into it and you was sounding choppy again. But I wanted to go over something, man, because you're not really gonna have people get into this portion. But to me, these are the type of things that stand out about a fighter that people don't really be considering. Now, granted, people can be match made and they can take off, and because they got a special skill and, you know, they can make adjustments and they learn on the job, that can happen. But when you got a guy that started off, let me tell y'all, his first fight in 2017, dude that he went against was 1-0. Then he went against a guy that was 2-2-1. Then he went against a guy that was 2-2-0. Then a 2-2-0. Then a 4-4-0. Never, not an upside down yet. Then he went up to 7. A guy that was 7-2. All 6 rounders. Then, if you know anything about Cleveland, Trayshawn Wiggins, he was a name. He went up against him. He was 10-3-1. Then he went up against the guy David Morales, 13-9. Then he went up against 4-1, 7-1, 16-2. Then he fought Argenis Mendez, and if you seen Argenis Mendez was nice, man. He was 25-5-3. Then he went against Malik Hawkins, who was 18-1. That's who I was just talking about. I ran into him one day at the gas station out here years ago. Right before I was about to do a video about Earl Spence that night. I remember it was like it was yesterday on North Avenue. Then Angel Rodriguez, Angel Rodriguez, 12-10. Yomar Alamo, 20-1. Then he went up against Juan Bowser. He was 17-0. Bowser down twice in that fight. And he was picking up, you know what I'm saying, some accolade soup. He was getting like the WBC USA Super Light, the IBF North American Super Light, you know, the things that increase these guys' cachet and move them up in the sanctioning bodies and give them some credentials, give them something that they actually working to win. Then it was the WBO, NABO Super Light when he fought Jose Cepeda, the infamous Jose Cepeda. Jose Cepeda was 37-3. He's UD-ing these folks. Gustavo Lemos, you can say what you want, but guess what? He UD Gustavo Lemos. Gustavo Lemos was 29-0. Liam Paro, 25-0. That's when he got his strap under the IBF. Then he stops Cambosis in the 8th round as a defense. And now we got Oscar Duarte, who's 32. He's 32-1. So 30 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw. That's a resume, man. Like, that's like, you got to consider these things. No, because go look at your favorite fighter and look at his first 5 fights. People say it don't matter. And yeah, they'll say that don't matter, but what happened in the amateurs with somebody matter. Or what happened in the weight class below, like, it, you know, people pick and choose. What you got, AC?
Let me just keep it simple. Ditto. It's just that simple for me. I don't really know how to build upon that because it was all factual. For me, I'll say ditto and then I'll add in my little caveats. When I look at Hitchins' record, and I was following you as you were saying it, and just bringing it, I brought it up on another screen. When you look at these guys, you know, and we'll start from Jose Zepeda, right? You look at these fights, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we'll bring one more. Yomar Alamo, right? When you look at these guys and look at how well, not Alamo, he's a bit too far, but Fernandez, you see a steady climb in increasing the level of competition, and you look at the results of it. Unanimous decision, split decision, TKO when he got to George Kambosos. That was his last fight. So you got all of these unanimous decisions, and when you go, and if you keep tracking, there's some TKOs, which to me, that's the boxer's knockout. Ref stoppage, you retire a motherfucker on the stool. You feel what I'm saying? You either knock him, like, I don't expect to see like knockouts in a pure boxer, but I look for how many TKOs they got. First fight, TKO. Fourth fight, TKO. Fifth fight, KO. Retired, unanimous decision. UDs. In 2022, TKO, that was Rodriguez. And then we go right back to where I just spoke of Alamo. He retired that dude, right? So you look at a talent like that, and you say to yourself, when I watch many of these fights, or if I go down to his last 5 fights, not one of them fights was boring. He applied the sweet science in a way that made you say, God damn, this dude is nice. And when we were talking about it, I did not have him beating Liam Paro. I was like, nah, I think Paro gonna get it. Paro's on the run, and you know, he's looking really, really good. He's looking like that upset guy or whatever. So I was looking at Hitchins and I'm like, yeah, he's good, he's nice, but I don't know. I was on the fence with him. Body was like, I'm trying to tell y'all, man, he gonna beat Paro. He gonna be, I think he's gonna beat the shit out of Paro. So at the end of the day, I went back on Body's channel the day after and I ate my crow. I was like, yeah, you called that one, bro. I did not have that. I did not have it. I felt Hitchins was nice, but there was something a little special I was seeing in Paro. I guess he took offense to that and then went out there and said, all right, people is trying to say this about me. I'm gonna go out there and put hands and feet on Kambosos. I'm gonna do what other people haven't been able to do before Lomachenko did it after me. You feel what I'm saying? It's the first person, I believe, to stop George Kambosos. You know what I'm saying?
He was the second, but because Loma did.
No, Loma stopped him, right?
Yeah, Loma stopped him.
He's only been knocked out twice. He's got 4 losses.
Yeah,
he's only been stopped twice. Okay.
Yeah, I want to say a couple things, man.
Oh yeah, Loma fought him first. I thought Hitchins fought him first. Okay, Loma fought him first. All right.
Yeah, Loma been MIA for a minute now, man.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
what I want to say about Hitchens is, man, you got to think it's much like another guy where the environment they come from, right? As long as they are champ and they are doing good, they can always come back and be the example to be like, listen, man, take it from me, show them that belt, or they could see him on TV and they can tell them, the youth, like, look, man, you got a champ that live here, reside here, that's from here, that was in this gym, that was sharing, you know what I'm saying? We was doing the hand wraps and sharing gloves, and this is like, I'm from here. That's inspiration. So I find a lot of people just going out of their way. I'm like, I understand sometimes all these boxers be talking too much. Sometimes, you know, you hear something that make you cringe, but it's like, you gotta take whatever. Like, it's their time to shine. Like, you only get 15 minutes of fame in this game, and they get hit in the head for a living. This can be done in one punch. He's fighting. He's going up against a brute guy. He's going to have to be a matador of some sorts, because Duarte is coming. I think that Kenny Sims, he was outboxing him, doing whatever he wanted at times. I think that he needed to go to the body more, and I think it was times he could have showed more aggression. I think that we're going to get a healthier, stronger Richardson Hitchins. He been saying a lot, but as well, they always say a champion get 20% better.
Yeah.
So I'm looking for him to be 20% better. I'm looking for him to have full command. I'm looking for, by about the third, fourth round, I'm looking for Duarte to just be looking like his wheels he's starting to wilt like a flower, and his wheels starting to be broken. And he's going to have that, he's going to start going into that wild haymaker shit. But I see him running into the ropes, getting spent around. He might even fall down because he's going to be in there trying to take Richardson Hitchins' head off. And I think if you try to come, he might have a good game plan if you try to come in there like Moritalia did with Andy Cruz. The only thing is, Richardson Hitchins got more power than people give him credit for. He got a 40% knockout ratio, but that speaks volumes when you're in the weight class you're supposed to be in, and you're not fighting like people upside down. You're fighting people that are either just as skilled as you or have way more experience. So that veteran savvy will come through. He ran through them guys. You D'd them all. You know what I'm saying? And he still wound up stopping like 8 out of 20 of them with that level of competition. That's a stat that sticks out and speaks for itself. I think he's going to have to go to the body. That's one of my things that I say with him. And he shut me up this last time because he stopped Kambosos to the body. But I do say that, yeah, he don't head hunt, but I think that he gets focused on the head in his style of fighting a little bit. And I think he learned that, yeah, I'm gonna have to go to the body. So I'm looking forward to it. It is a test because it's Lenny against Robert Garcia. The same way we evaluating these coaches in the corner and what their tutelage is. Because I seen Coach Lenny, he had his Teddy Atlas moment. I've heard him like even through that Limos fight, and he don't be playing around. He's like, nah, man, don't listen to what everybody's saying. You got to look at this like we are down. Like, no, I need you to do this, this, and this, and break it down. So we're gonna be looking at Coach Lenny. He gonna be getting his time to shine in the corner. We're gonna see the tutelage. We get to see that chess match between him and Robert Garcia. Because Robert Garcia and them, they just came up big with the Moritalia over Bozy and them. So this is another matchup from somebody from the East Coast, New York, going up against, the Robert Garcia Boxing Academy. And this is the Greenprint. So this is going to tell us, because I already look at him elite. I think a lot of people already, if they're not biased, they're going to say, yeah, he's elite. This is going to define him amongst the elites. And you got to give him credit because, listen, I'm going to drop it right here. It's the last thing I'm going to say. Is, remember, we're in the era where everybody was just praising the jab and front foot placement. Well, guess what? Duarte going to have to deal with front foot placement and, dare I say, a better jab. A better jab. I was listening to all this hyperbole about who had the best jab and this and this and that. Listen, a healthy Jamal Charlo has a great jab. Errol Spence has a wonderful jab. Richardson Hitchins has a great jab. Tank Davis, he has one of the best jabs in the game. He's one of the most effective power punchers because he throws the least amount of punches, but he lands the most. He's the most one of the most accurate boxers in the game. Wonderful jab. But Richardson Hitchins don't get no credit for a jab. But when we in this hyperbole where, oh, master class, and yeah, he ain't got to stop him. If you win in the fight, remember, all these people that's selling that, you're going to see this on full display with a little more aggression against a guy that knows that, hey, I can rip this IBF off of him. And Richardson Hitchins wants to be up there with the Devin Haney's and all that. I think this is going to be another litmus test. He can pass with flying colors, and I look forward to that fight. That's all I got for that.
Yeah, and I'm going to say it like this, and I'm going to start backwards of where you just went. For me, I like the fact on the interview, Hitchins said, yeah, I'll fight him. He was like, yeah, he was whatever, what you call it. He was like, yeah, if the bag right, we got to fight this, and that. So I'm glad he put that out there to separate himself. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I'm kind of feeling like, and I'm hoping after this fight, the interviews or whatever, after this fight, he'll kind of allude to stuff like that, because I think he already knows that fucking with these dudes over here, I ain't gonna never be able to speak the way I want to speak. Coming from where I come from, dudes can't tell me how to talk or whatever. I'm just gonna speak my piece. But I'm so young and new in the game, I don't want to burn bridges or fuck around with the darlings of the class, the teacher's pets and shit like that. So the teacher starts looking at me, put me in a fucked up seat that's right near the heater that don't never shut off. And even in the summertime, this heater's still pushing out like 60 degrees. And you got me right there where no AC can reach me. And the window right here don't work. So I think that's where he's trying to maneuver himself. As long as my name is in this group, and I could kind of say I'm cool with them, I don't think the industry is going to seriously try to blackball me. Like what I just came out of, and then what's been going on in my whole career. Because for the time that he's been boxing and who he's been around, honestly, he should be a much bigger star. You know what I'm saying? So I get to a certain degree, I'm giving him the mulligan because he's trying to play politics, but the politics are business politics. I see how everybody's moving around this dude. I'm not gonna be the dude to shit on this dude right now.
Right.
So I gotta play the game. I know he the teacher's pet, so I'm gonna play the game, play nice, be cordial. But once I get to where I feel I need to be, if this nigga's still around me, he gonna have to see me. Because I know for me, my stardom to where I could walk down the streets of Brooklyn and be downtown Brooklyn and be recognized like a Riddick Bowe, a Shannon Briggs. You feel what I'm saying? Or a Mike Tyson. I know for me, he's gonna be my victory to that. Unless somebody else comes up and me and Gary Russell do it, and then me and Frank Martin do it. And at that division, now I'm controlling it. If he decides to stay, if something should pop up, or even if he goes up to 47 and he just starts knocking those dudes off at 47, the dude is, Hitchins is 5'9" with a 74-inch reach. This dude is my frame. He's my frame. You know, I'm 5'9". You know what I'm saying? So, and I think I got either like a 75 or 76 arm reach. I got fucking scary ass long arms for a dude that's my height. You know what I'm saying? So, at the end of the day, yeah, I think he's looking to maneuver himself and play the political games, and then when he gets where he wants to get, he gonna turn that switch on. So I'm just gonna let time see if this hypothesis that I have is really gonna pan out the way I think it's gonna pan out. And if it pans out the way I think it's gonna pan out, these are good moves that he's doing. I don't have no problem with it. I see why you're going to take on Duarte. After Duarte, we'll see what happens, with either Frank Martin or somebody else, because we know Keyshawn is not going to be there.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I'm looking at the tea leaves, and I got my eyes on these because it could be a unification. It could be a unification for either guy in the middle and to the left, or it could be a defense from the guy on the left and the guy on the right, or the guy in the middle and the guy on the right, because people gonna be talking about it, and they fight back to back to back, and so it's on them right now. It's on them and how they perform and what they do, and I think some of that might dictate whether or not he can get a big fight right at 40 and people clamor for a unification, because they ask for a unification between him and Gary Russell, but they use Gary almost like a Rottweiler on him, like, yeah, you got to fight, but it's not that they want him to really get a unification, because there's a couple other belts. But I think that how he performs in this fight is going to dictate if he can get a big fight at 40 or he has to go to 47 and chase whatever these guys at 47 are doing. I just hope he do it right and do it with the IBF, even though he said he respect them, but he don't like that rehydration, so he really wants to get another belt. So I think he want to go in a different sanctioning body. So we just gotta wait and see, man. But I thought it'd be a good time to be able to speak on my guy, Duarte. He has made some improvements, and he got Robert Garcia, but I'm not gonna act like I'm a huge fan. I think that Duarte is he dangerous if you allow him to do what he likes to do, which is bring that pressure and put hot sauce and mustard on all his punches. I don't think his feet are that good, but I think this is going to be a good test for Richardson Hitchins, and a good another statement fight for him. And that's pretty much how I wrap that up, man.
And that's how I kind of feel. This is a statement fight. It's something you have to do to really put the rest of the division on notice and let them know, like, yo, I'm here. Y'all may not want to talk about me, but you definitely gonna have to deal with me. And this mainstream media people don't want to talk about me, but at some point y'all gonna have to deal with me. So I'm like, look, this is your moment. You go out there, put pause on this dude. You feel what I'm saying? They're gonna be the naysayers that are just gonna try to tell you, well, Duarte was this and Duarte was that, and he's blah blah blah, and it's just like that means nothing. That means nothing, because at the end of the day, what did Artem and Patty and many of these fights that some of these other guys had, what did it do for their career? Because they had the machine behind them, they made you think or convinced you into thinking that was a great move. Yeah, he's got like fucking 30 losses. He's a world-class fighter. Yeah, but he only won 4. I mean, but look who he beat. But look at the four guys he actually beat. And they take these type of upside down dudes, or really, really over-the-mill dudes, and just because they're fighting someone who's within that's go, it's a world-class fight. Like, at the end of the day, I mean, people were getting upset because we were cooking the shit out of boots off that Lima situation, because it wasn't indicative to the hardware that you went up there with. That was a backwards. So where are we at today? Hitchins is making moves that's propelling him forward. O'Shaquie Foster is making moves that's propelling him forward. If these guys are looking for the big fights, they're worthy opponents. They're not the type of opponents that have given us pause or excuse to say X, Y, and Z. They're actively pursuing guys. And then these are the guys who are made to be the villains, the ones who are actively pursuing. People are happy with the cowards running away from the smoke. The guys it's you and dude getting ready to square off, and your homeboy's right there. You grab your homeboy and you put him between us, and you be like, yo, you lucky my man ain't holding. You lucky my man right there holding me back. Then your man turn around like, bruh, don't put me in the middle of that shit. Let me just step aside and y'all two get it on. Nah, you already was there. Now he's scared we gonna jump him. So it's like, no, it was never none of that, bro. You don't really want that smoke. Your fans don't really want that smoke because they don't want to see you in a fight that they can't glorify you in. And this is maybe the weirdest shit about this era. If my guy's gonna fight somebody, we're gonna use all the talking points. He ain't shit. He ain't did shit. It's gonna be easy work. He not on his level. Watch this shit be a masterclass. Why do you want to see fights like that? But yet we turn around and say, oh, Tank cherry pick Lamont Roach. That was a cherry pick. But you want Shakur and all of these other dudes to fight guys that you know they gonna beat their ass. Richardson Hitchins and other fighters are trying to fight the fights that saying, yeah, these are tough fights. These are tough fights. He has to play the game right now. But if you take away the Cambosis and you take away this, you'll say, yo, he's putting in real work. He's beating a boogeyman. He's beating the man who beat the boogeyman. So what are we talking about here? If things pan out right, we might be looking at a unification. And I think it's smart for him to put it out there like, look, if none goofy, and I'm not saying every one of them is goofy, but he's saying if none of these goofy dudes want to fight me, I might as well go to 140 because I'm not going to sit around and have y'all try to do to me what y'all just did to Bakram. That shit is not going to happen. I want to be active. So hopefully they get this thing, he goes out there and does his thing with this guy. We'll see what Mr. Gary Antoine Russell does. We'll see what Frank Martin does. And hopefully these guys will say, you know what? Fuck all of that bullshit with them. Let's take this shit over because we could do this. And then you know what? We'll include Dalton Smith. We'll include Dalton Smith. Let this nigga go over there and fight a fucking Pitbull Cruz. Fuck that.
And I got some new information. Eddie, he's all but saying that it might be Alberto Puello against Dalton Smith because Alberto Puello, that whole snafu, he was supposed to get a shot right away. You know what I'm saying? So he might go over. Alberto Puello might be going over to Liverpool, according to Eddie, and fight Dalton Smith. Even though he said it's a dangerous fight, especially for defense, but we might bring him over there. So Puello, he already know how I feel. You know what I'm saying? He know how that feel to get pickpocketed. But that's what we might be getting in like June.
And I still don't have an issue with that because I think it's a good fight. He's gonna knock off maybe a potential mandatory or some shit like that. But as we all say, once you become champion, you get that involuntary or that voluntary fight. So it's like, you know what? That's what usually has been done. So it's still a tough fight for me. It's still a good, interesting fight. And we'll just see how all of that stuff pans out. But I hope Hitchins stays at 140, collects a lot of hardware, get more accolades. So when he goes up to 47, there is no prima donnas that's going to try to do weird shit because then it might leave him relegated to fighting a Nicholas Flaws, a Tiger Johnson, which people will want to see. But it's just like, now you're stuck down there with those dudes. And you came into this and you're nice enough that you really need to be above these dudes. You know what I'm saying? And that's my biggest concern. You feel me? Unless he uses that IBF, you know what I'm saying? Talks to them, and them people at the IBF could run that play to let him go after the IBF champion. You feel what I'm saying?
That'll
So,
be Crocker. Yeah.
yeah, that would be Lewis Crocker. So we'll see how the politics play out. But I feel like this: if you're gonna go up to 47, for me, the smart fight is challenge Lewis Crocker. And if Lewis Crocker has the fight on the line, challenge the winner of the Lewis Crocker and whoever else, because then you'll have hardware, and these other guys can't play no games with you. So that's kind of how I see it, and I'm just hoping that there's a lot. I'm just looking at it like this: there's a lot more meat on the bones at 40, as far as saying legacy and resume building and stuff like that. It's a lot more stuff like that at 40 than at 47 for me. So that's a tough decision for me. So I hope he just makes the right one and it works out for him. I just have to see what he does pretty much after this. And it's surprising to me, looking at the rankings, they have Keyshawn Davis sitting at number 4 for the IBF belt at 140. Right. Okay. I don't know why y'all did that, because Keyshawn ain't gonna fight for no IBF fucking belt, not having the belt and have to deal with a rehydration. Like, nah. So I guess that's just some of the politics of boxing and things like that. But I'm just looking at, after this, they don't try to pull the Delgado mandatory and allow him to, if he's going to stay there, like after his fight, if Gary calls him out right after that, if Gary calls him out, or I'm not expecting Shakur to have anything to say to Hitchins, so I'm just hoping Gary calls him out, or he gets a fight with Frank Martin or somebody else. So that's where I'm gonna land it at that. But I just hope he just gets I just hope that his tenure, longevity in the sport, his consistent behavior as far as being in the ring, showing up. I hope all of that starts to reap its rewards, and people can recognize him for the real talent instead of just talking shit about him calling himself Africa and being extremely dark skinned. Brooklyn supports him, and if he does what he has to do, coming from Brownsville, that's a lot of young dudes that'll be looking up to him. That'll be like, nah, bro, I'm trying to do it like Hitchins right now. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know who wrote it in the thing, but that's actually a tough Brooklyn t-shirt for him. Richardson Hitchins. And that's how we would say it out here. You feel what I'm saying? That's my man Richard, but son Hitchins. So, so whoever put it out there, it might have been
that's D Calico.
Yeah. But if you go on a Hitchinson's jump off, put that out there. They may put that on a t-shirt, and that's all on. That's yours. That shit is nasty. I like that. That shit is fly as hell. Cause that's how we talk out here. That's how them dudes talk in Brownsville. You know what I'm saying? That's how they do it. So, hey, you spot on with that. They'll be like, ooh, bro, you mind if I put that on the t-shirt? They'll give you a props.
They gonna, I think they have some with Hitchins, but not the son Hitchins. And
that's
you put an image, you put a dude, you could, I create the shit out of that, you know what I'm saying, for somebody. But yeah, that's a good idea. But let's wrap up with this. Y'all up right now, AC. You got Shoo.
Yeah.
Shushu walking around holding that thing. I see him out there. I seen snow on the ground. He, you know what I'm saying? He bundled up, but he out there with his strap, walking around, letting the community know. I'm like, man, that's why we got to pull for these guys.
Yeah.
It's like people will bend over backwards, man, and put on knee pads and spray throat coat for people that are foreign and all this, like all types of, what do you say on Shotters? All types of foreign style fuckery. You know what I'm saying? They be all in for that, but like our homegrowns, our owns, our from the muds, the ones who, took the steps. Everybody praising the guy that got on the elevator. It's like these guys are taking the steps, but I want to say New York is on right now. New York is on right now, and
we got Shoe York, and we got Africa.
in the last thing, no, you good. It's good. I was listening to you, but in the last thing, is I seen something where we might get Torres and what's his name? Frank Sanchez.
Whoa.
Yeah, and I was looking at the comments, bro. Somebody was like, "Oh, he's like, man, what did Torres do to deserve this?" Like, oh, they was talking mad shit in the comments. I said, okay, because remember, I got a thumbnail with him calling him the Sasquatch, because before we seen Caballero do what he did, we seen that knee brace. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I gotta see, but like, yeah, I'm like, man, that's gonna be a scrap, man. That's all I got, though, man. I'm gonna leave you with that. How you want to close out, man?
Man, I just want to close out with today was a great show. It was a little bit loose, a little bit fun. This was another one of our spotlights on the fighters that are fighting this weekend, and we're just supporting these guys because they really need support. You got the Brad Pack and the and the Funky Four plus one more. So it's just like, listen, there's a great card coming up. It's fight week, and people are talking about a goofy fight between Shakur and Ryan Garcia. While these fights are really going to determine the real landscape of 140, and just because Shakur beat Tito, now 140 is a done deal. Shakur owned that division for some reason. That's his division. He the man in that division. And it's like, what the fuck did he do? So at the end of the day, I'm not taking away from his victory, but what I am questioning is the hyperbole after the victory. So I look forward to this fight. I look forward to doing shows like this. Today's show was extremely fun, and tomorrow's show is going to be just as fun. And tune in tomorrow. I'll be dealing with the housekeeping. I got some really good points that I'll be talking about, and at the end of the day, I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but we're going to spotlight the last of the fighters that we're spotlighting this week. And if you've been following the Bouncing Ball, you know who we've done already. So at the end of the day, let's just move forward, keep putting these stakes in the ground, have great shows, and hopefully we're leaving everybody with something to think about, something to research, and all of that other kind of stuff. And that's where I landed. Great show, Body. Salute to everybody in the chat. Salute to everybody that'll watch this on the playback, and on to the next one.
All right, man. AC, I appreciate your time, bro. You're definitely an asset to the channel, man. Enjoy your evening, bro.
You too, bro.
All right, man. There you have it, man. Another good one in the books, man. Thanks for everybody who came through and showed support to your boy. Man, it's greatly appreciated, man. I always ask that you support the channel. We do put in work, man. We put in effort. Like I know I'm trying to clean up some things, you know what I'm saying, that I would normally do, that I'm trying to get away from, but we got to keep it real. We got to keep it all the way funky. We got to keep putting stakes in the ground for these guys who don't really have a voice. We got to say sometimes because they listen. Silence is consent, but we got to be a voice for some of these guys who can't say what needs to be said, about the sport. And we got to leave something so that while the masses are saying one thing, the people that's really paying attention, the ones that's really looking at it, putting everything on the scale, that they have a spot where these things will bookmark. A stake was on the ground, so you can go back and be like, all right, okay, I think it's over there. We can go look at that and analyze what was being said and what was really going on, man. It's a lot of ducking going on, man. Like boxing, for many people who can't stand politics and want to get over into, sports or whatever, it sure is a lot of politics going on around this sport. It sure is a whole lot of media stuff. Like, y'all think AI is a mess, man? This soft, sassy era we in, it's something else, but the good news is the only thing that's constant is change. So either you got to evolve with the times and, find a way to still be, truthful, honest, have some integrity about what you're talking about, and be entertaining. That's what we try to do. Fruits and veggies, not that Reggie, that fact-based content, not opinion-based, even though we have our a lot of time when it comes down to disagreements and all that, man, people say everything but let's debate. That's a t-shirt in itself. You say everything but let's debate. You know what I'm saying? Whereas it's even, but then again, people don't like them away games, man. They like that home cooking, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? They like that home cooking, man. I'm like, what happened to all the road warriors? The people who used to go out and do, I was a road warrior. I'm a road warrior. It's just too many people that want to mute me, man. You gonna, like, I'm like Loaded Lex in the gray hoodie. You gonna get this work. But hey, we try to do a proper volley here. When they throw the ball up in the beginning of the game, we try to give a proper volley. Even when I score fights, man, if I'm not sure that the guy that I actually want to win didn't win, I go over the criteria and I'm like, I got to give it to the other guy because my guy clearly didn't win. If I can't make a decisive decision, my guy, even though I wanted to win, he didn't win that round. My scorecards be on point, bro. That's the same way we do with this boxing talk. We all get passionate, excited, and all that, man. That's drama all over the place. Remember, I always tell y'all that boxing is 80-20. Meaning that it's 80% good. Why? Because it's still alive. People are still making blockbuster money. Like, people are still, making it up out of, bad places, lower income places. Like, boxing is good. We, we just tend to focus on the 20%. We focus on that 80% of the time. Think about that. Boxing is 80% good, 20% bad. But the 20% that's bad, we spend 80% of the time talking about that. Like, oh man, you seen that, man? Clarissa Shields, she burnt Papoose eggs, man. How she gonna do that? And she really want a husband. That's what everybody's on. They pick and choose when they want to talk about PEDs and snack. Don't ever bring up a therapeutic use exemption. Don't ever bring up the fact that for 3-4 months, mans was running around talking about I'm a 35-pounder. Somebody landed in the spot to where as soon as you dip your toe in the water, a shark will come up and try to snatch it. Y'all let that man just Jiminy Cricket y'all, man. Because Oshaki was going to push that button. People like Richardson Hitchins, people like Oshaki, man. If let's just say you want to call them opponents, even though they're not, they're bona fide, certified, battle-tested champions already. That's what they are. Nobody talking about them. Nobody talking about the fights this weekend. They all on that juicy gossip. Who's getting sued? How much this watch wasn't paid for? They broke bad. But they pick and choose. I ain't hear no videos about Bud and his watch situation, but because Floyd is Floyd, we heard all kind of stuff about Floyd and his watch situation and what lawsuit is this and that. We keep it boxing. You know what I'm saying? And we don't always agree. When we disagree, we hash it out. Sometimes sparring get a little heavy, but we work it out. We live to talk another boxing day. You know, that's what it is over here. You know, we're not trying to be the most popular, you know, because things come along with that. You want to be nice with everybody. You want to be whatever. I mean, being cordial and all that, cool. But if you worried about all the like offending this fan base and not offending that fan base, but because your little step nephew, uncle, cousin, because he go over to this gym, you can't ever speak the truth about them. We try not to do all of that. It ain't that deep. We talk that boxing, man. We talk about all these guys. We not one of them channels where we just put the same face up and talk about the same thing every day and all that. Like, we get off the beaten path. So I say, listen to all of them. Go listen. Have at it. And then come here to hear the alternative to what everybody else is saying. That's why I call it the pulse of boxing. And I give credit where it's due. You know, I know I could talk that boxing. I just wanted to do, since we didn't have, the show started off a little different. I just wanted to capsize it and say, man, look at the landscape of boxing. Ask yourself, are you supporting, you know what I'm saying, the guys that's really doing what we want them to do? Before the silk sheets and all of that, they still putting in that hard labor. They still pursuing those tough fights. They still hungry. You know what I'm saying? Stomach still be growling at times. Yeah. Are you paying attention to them guys? Are you speaking up for them guys? That's it, y'all. I look forward to it. And the show that AC got, man, he put something together. Y'all know how thorough AC is, man. I think it's going to be a good show tomorrow. But Richardson Hitchins, man, he got an opportunity to have a legacy moment. Is it the biggest name? No. But can he make the biggest statement on that night? The Ryan Garcia Barrios undercard. That's why they got to fight the fight. Anyways, thanks for choosing Bodywork Boxing. But we don't take things for face value. We do that body work.
He didn't want to box. He wanted to actually prove that he could punch with you. He was like, what the fuck is this nigga? Right? Oh, okay. You want to go to sleep. You tired.
Welcome to Bodywork.